Hello, I'm Megan Jones, editor at Call Centre Helper, and I'm delighted to be joined today by Dara Kiernan, consultant at KPI Services, to take a closer look at the findings from our latest Call Centre Helper research and the truth about how often contact centres really change the questions on their quality scorecards. So, Dara, were you surprised to see such a varied picture here, ranging from last week to never?
Yeah, hey Megan. Look, thanks so much for having me here today. Lovely to talk to you as usual. Yeah, I wasn't really that surprised, to be honest. I think it kind of showed that organizations kind of want to evolve, but it kind of makes me think that the reality just gets in the way. I kind of think, it's like a gym membership in January. It all like we've got great intentions when we get that gym membership, and then and then February we don't even know where the gym is, and that's the last thing in our mind. And it's probably something we were just talking about December, how things slow down. And how we then think in December, now we've got time to think about this. Let's review our scorecards. Let's get all of that stuff done when we come back in January. We'll all think about it when we have our break and what we do. And then you walk in January and it's just back to what it was. And it's just constant pressure and demand and reactiveness, I think. So I think it's showing that some contact centers are really treating their scorecards as a living document as such. But still some of them kind of treat them like an old museum piece. Do you know, they'll polish them occasionally, but they never really update them. They're just there.
So, for the people that are in survival mode, then and have been neglecting their scorecard questions, why is it so important for these questions to be reviewed regularly?
Well, like things move so fast. And customers' expectations. Your whole scorecard is about building up and analyzing the quality service that you provide to your customers. And customers' expectations are changing all the time. And with technology now, I think in the article we talk, we talked before in the article I mentioned about, everything is done by swipe now. It's done so fast.
Mm.
Everything is moving so quickly in this world. Your scorecard should keep up with that. You need to match your customers' expectations and you need to exceed it. Now, you don't have to exceed it too high, too much, because you may end up going a totally different direction.
Mm.
But your scorecard should evolve at the same speed as your customer's patience evaporates, basically. Do you know, that's the way I kind of think of it. If you measure the wrong things for too long, you're measuring yesterday's experience instead of like what's actually going on today with people. I think they're not ignoring the need to review the scorecards. I think it just comes back to being so busy. They're not it's not setting off a red flag. They're just moving. Their momentum is, we just keep, this is what we do. This is what we do. We always do this. It's not broken. Let's not fix it. But I suppose it's not showing them that it's broken. It's just, maybe it's not broken enough. And they're just not measuring it that well. I think cost pressures are really so tight as well that
Mm.
they just don't have time to step back and just kind of think about what's going on and what matters to their customer. And a lot of contact centers, I find, look at them as they're treated as cost centers and they react that way. They try and keep the costs down. Um, but if they just gave themselves a bit of time, if they resourced up just slightly and gave themselves a little bit more time, what they'll end up doing is building more empathy with their customers. And then there's an opportunity to cross sell. And then potentially you could turn your cost center into a revenue generator. And that in itself is very important for a business. But until you start thinking like that, you're just going to keep things as tight as you possibly can. I don't think regular reviews have to be a big annual event, a
Mhm.
big deal, just small, steady tweaks. Like how the apps on your phone update. They're just small little things and they're so easy to update. And they're not a big, it's not a big deal. So if you just you just got to keep your scorecard, I suppose, and your culture just kind of healthy and relevant. So just small things all the way along and talk to your people. You know, I think they'll give you the fantastic information that you need to do this.
So it's not about thinking of it as this massive exercise that you've got to save up for once a year and gets put off because you're too busy and you're not getting round to it. It's just building it into continuous improvement culture, doing little and often and keeping on top of it.
I think so. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and then it's just the communication to the team, you know, because again, regular tweaks, can't be too many either because, you know, people that get confused because the scorecard keeps changing and, you know, you know, set yourself, maybe it's every 6 weeks, maybe it's every 2 months, but it's not this huge thing that comes on you once a year that you'll, and like what we talked about, let's do this in January. And everybody comes in January dreading this big overhaul that they're going to have to do. But if you had already done it, you no longer, if you're doing it every 2 months, you no longer have that big, big thing that you need to do.